ABC6 News at 11 on your side starts now.
A monster storm headed for Texas and Louisiana at this hour. There are mere hours left, some 3 before Hurricane Laura makes landfall. And a live look at Galveston as the outer bands of the storm batter that vulnerable part of the coast. We have team coverage tonight. First, Chief Meteorologist Marshall McPeak. And this even affects us, Marshall, to a certain extent, albeit not for a couple of days.
It's going to be this weekend by the time it does affect us, but it's on the way here, and that is going to be a very rainy event for us. We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's start with the 11 o'clock update. This is still a Category 4 storm with winds of 150 miles per hour. This is going to do some significant damage with the wind alone, but with the potential storm surge of up to 20 feet, that's well into the second story of most homes, which is part of the reason why it's being called unsurvivable. It comes ashore at roughly 2 o'clock in the morning, and then it will make its way up the Louisiana-Texas border. Now, for some perspective, you hear us talk in the Midwest all the time about the Fujita scale, the tornado scale. So when you have winds that are of 150 miles an hour, that's like an EF3 tornado. That's where this storm is right now as a Category 4 storm. Imagine an EF3 tornado, because you've seen the kind of damage that can do, and it's sitting in the same place for hours on end, plus giving you flooding. That's what they're facing along the coastline later tonight. It's going to be potentially catastrophic. More on where the storm is in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Marshall. We'll move on our team coverage now to ABC's Elwin Lopez with the very latest on preparations in Baton Rouge.
The time to get out of Laura's path is now over. Storm surge alerts along the Gulf Coast extends for over 400 miles.
We're hoping that this wall does what it was made for.
In Louisiana, the entire National Guard on alert and activated. Officials warning staying put could prove deadly.
And if you think you're safe because you made it through Rita in southwest Louisiana, understand this storm is going to be more powerful.
Laura barreling ashore in the middle of a pandemic in the same areas where there were more than 300,000 cases of COVID-19.
Don't want to be in a shelter, don't want to be infected, don't want to infect anybody.
In places under mandatory evacuations, large shelters could see limited capacity due to the coronavirus.
We have to do social distancing. Everyone has to have a mask. We're doing temperature checks. We're doing hand sanitizer when you come in the door. And then we have everybody spaced out. So that has really changed the whole focus of the way we've done things.
Officials in Lake Charles, Louisiana, worried not enough people got out in time.
I'm going to be honest, I am concerned that we didn't have the evacuation numbers that we probably should have.
Here in Baton Rouge, we are also seeing the effects of Hurricane Laura, strong winds, heavy rains. Officials say they are concerned about flooding as well as the possibility of tornadoes. In Baton Rouge, Elwin Lopez, ABC News.
Well, Laura is predicted to bring what many are calling, as Marshall said, unsurvivable storm surge, some 20 feet in some areas. The damage could extend to buildings 30 miles inland. And this is some video of million-dollar homes in the Lake Charles area using inflatable levees to try and prevent surge damage. Ohio Task Force 1 officially activated and on their way to Texas at this hour. The team met up at the warehouse in Vandalia tonight and are now on their way to College Station, Texas for staging. Not the only group from Ohio that's headed south. We were there as AEP line workers gathered today. Mary Smith now shows us they're ready to help, as is the Red Cross.
We spoke with a Red Cross volunteer who is currently on lockdown in a hotel just southeast of Houston. He's one of several dozen that the agency sent down there to assist with Hurricane Laura. AEP is also sending hundreds of contractors and employees bright and early tomorrow. Hurricane Laura continues to intensify as it heads to the Gulf Coast, with its eye focused on Texas and Louisiana.
We were put in lockdown at 11 a.m. this morning.
Columbus native and Red Cross volunteer Tom Fernowski tells us he arrived on the Texas coast Sunday to begin handing out food and water to at-risk communities.
We took MREs out to location, out Indian Reservation up in Livingston, Texas yesterday, and we took them water as well. And today we took more MREs plus snacks and Pop-Tarts to another location in Livingston.
He and other volunteers will head back out as a team once the storm passes.
It doesn't matter where I go. It could be here. It could be the California wildfires. It's to get back to the people that are worse off.
Also preparing for the more than 1,000-mile trip south, contractors and employees with AEP Ohio.
By and large, the heat's the hardest part.
Terrell says he's traveled many times for natural disasters. Aside from the blazing southern heat, leaving his family is difficult.
One of the things that my kids like to do for me is they'll write a note. They'll all sit down together and they'll write a note and they'll put it somewhere in my luggage. Sooner or later, I'll find a note from them, you know, telling me to be safe and telling me how proud they are of me.
Between contractors and employees, AEP is sending more than 400 people to help.
Well, it's the right thing to do to start with. It's a humanitarian effort. They go down. Our men and women take great pride in being able to help others, and this is a way of helping others.
Both AEP and the Red Cross tell us that depending on how bad the damage is will determine how long they're down there. Reporting in Old Town East, Mary Smith, ABC 6 News.
Thank you, Mary. Stay with ABC 6 for updates as Hurricane Laura makes landfall tonight. Download our app.